We've been off our live show for a few days, and it's nice to be back with you again. Tensions are rising in the Middle East. I'm going to tell you what I believe the Lord showed me during a time of prayer that's going to happen over there. And I've mentioned it to our prayer meeting at our staff, and lo and behold, it has seen fulfillment the last few days. Tensions are rising toward the breaking point between the Saudis, the Sunnis, and the Shias of Iran.
Well, the two countries have cut diplomatic ties that could split the Islamic Middle East. The confrontation began after the Saudis executed a prominent Islamic cleric, inflaming Shiite Muslims around the world. As Gary Lane reports, some wonder if this could lead to war.
Shia Muslims around the world staged protests. This one turned violent in Kashmir, India. Others, like this one in Beirut, Lebanon, were more sedate. But the message was clear. Saudi Arabia's execution of prominent Shiite Muslim cleric Nimr al-Nimr was a crime against humanity. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah condemned the execution, saying the Saudi monarchy is a terrorist dictatorship. But the biggest protest occurred in Tehran, Iran, where demonstrators stormed and set fire to the Saudi embassy.
Allah has promised to get revenge over spilled blood of the innocent. When time passes, the House of Saud will certainly understand that al-Nimr's blood will catch up with those who executed him.
Others set fire to an American flag and said they believe the House of Saud will be overthrown by ISIS or Islamic countries. Iranian President Rouhani denounced the execution, calling it anti-Islamic and anti-human. An Iranian government judicial spokesman said some of those who stormed the Saudi embassy have been arrested and jailed. Saudi Arabia announced the execution of Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr on Saturday. He was killed along with 46 others, including Saudi dissidents and members of al-Qaeda. The Iranians say the Saudis executed the sheikh because he was an outspoken critic of the monarchy and called for human rights for Saudi Arabia's Shiite minority. So what might this mean for the United States and the rest of the world? For now, it may mean peace efforts to end the Saudi and Iranian proxy wars in Yemen and Syria may likely stall.
The Iranians will probably go beyond rhetoric, intensifying their support to Houthi rebels in Yemen and perhaps even trying to foment protests and insurgencies, perhaps even in Bahrain, among the Shia majority there, against the Sunni king, and in Saudi Arabia in the Al-Hassa province.
As Muslim clerics attended Nimr al-Nimr's funeral this past weekend, the White House released a statement condemning his execution. President Obama chose not to comment on escalating Middle East tensions as he and his family returned to Washington from their Hawaii vacation. Gary Lane, CBN News.
I'll give you more on that after a little while on this program. I think you want to hear what is going to happen. In other news, President Obama is kicking off the new year by planning to take executive action on gun control. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau.
That's right, Pat. Legal experts question just how far the president will be able to go with his executive actions, and they expect legal challenges to his moves. President Obama is using executive actions because he hasn't been able to convince Congress to approve new gun restrictions. The measures include possibly expanding background checks on gun sales, forcing more sellers to register as federally licensed gun dealers. The changes would be aimed at people who sell at gun shows, online, or informal settings. Other moves include beefing up inspections of licensed dealers. Well, 4 days after a shocking terror attack in Tel Aviv, police in Israel are still searching for the suspect, believed to be an Israeli Arab. Chris Mitchell has that story from Jerusalem.
The assailant opened fire with an automatic weapon on Israelis celebrating a birthday at a Tel Aviv restaurant on Friday. He killed 2 and wounded several others before escaping. Family members recognized Nishat Milhem from closed-circuit footage that aired in news reports. Here he's seen shopping just before the attack. Then he pulls out his gun and starts to shoot. In an unusual move, Milhem's family reported his identity to police. Members of the Israeli Arab community expressed their sorrow over the attack, and Milhem's father extended his condolences to the families of the victims. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the site of the attack, which he called a despicable murder.
Among Muslim citizens of Israel, There are many who speak out against violence and want full law enforcement in their communities. Everyone knows there is wild incitement by Islamic extremists against Israel in the Arab sector, incitement in mosques, incitement in the education system, and incitement on social media. We are acting aggressively against that incitement.
Tel Aviv is on high alert as security forces continue to hunt for the terrorists. Parents reluctantly sent their children to school in Tel Aviv after the weekend.
We have known larger events than this, more devastating, and we have always bounced back because that is how we are in Tel Aviv, Yafo, and in Israel.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, here at home, a little over a week ago, 9 tornadoes tore across Dallas, Texas, killing 11 people and destroying or damaging hundreds of homes. Mitch Land, the dean of the communications school at Regent University, lost his home, as did many of his neighbors. The good news, Operation Blessing was there to help. Heather Sells has that story.
The Dallas tornadoes blasted the communities of Rowlett and Garland with winds up to 200 miles an hour. They decimated hundreds of homes and damaged others. Regent University Dean Mitch Land is grateful most in his community were not harmed, including 22 family members in his home.
The majority of the people in this devastated area of Rowlett and Garland survived. It's amazing how few are hurt physically. Now, emotionally, everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's wounded.
The tornadoes struck the day after Christmas, and then the rains began, further destroying Land's home.
There was at least 2 inches of water throughout the house, so all the hardwood, all the carpet, all that stuff completely ruined. We know and realize that that's just stuff, and it doesn't matter what it costs, it's all stuff.
For the last week, the humanitarian nonprofit Operation Blessing has been working in Rowlett and Garland. It has sent more than 2,000 volunteers to Land's home and others. They've helped victims salvage their belongings, clear debris, and set up tarps to protect home interiors for now.
Operation Blessing volunteers have been awesome. They've been here almost every day, and they've helped us every day do something.
Diane Drain admitted he had some trouble accepting help because he's normally the one to give it. He has served in multiple disasters on the Texas Baptist Men's Chainsaw Team.
To see people in need and to help them is natural and comfortable for me, but to be on this end it's new territory.
Operation Blessing focuses not just on the physical, but on survivors' emotional and spiritual needs as well. Volunteers take time to hear people's stories and pray with them. Land says the ministry has profoundly blessed his family.
This brings us to tears. It makes us just weep because of the care and the love and kindness that we feel. It's almost worth going through it just because Operation Blessing cares.
Heather Sells, CBN News.
How encouraging, and you can find out more about this story on cbnnews.com. Pat, back to you.
And if you want to help Operation Blessing, the number is 1-800-759-0700. It's a disaster relief fund, and we're there year after year, month after month. It's not just the holidays, it's not just Christmas, it's not just Easter, it's all year long. We're there because we care, and it's interesting that our own dean of our School of Communications, where I might add they've received over 400 film awards for the great work they're doing, that he would be the recipient of the blessing that has come about. 2,000 volunteers out helping the victims. They're there every day because we care. So help us, help others.